Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Talk about getting in character. You
just woke up. This is what I sleep in.
So what's it like knowing you're part of a film and then they come back to you and says, we want to make a series out of your character. You're coming back for more.
I either think that the industry has lost its mind or I'm super grateful. And I'm trying to lean towards the second with not leaning into the first. Man, I really enjoyed my time on the Suicide Squad, and working with James is an absolute blessing. So when he tossed around the idea of trying to do an episodic with Peacemaker on HBO Max, I was very, very excited about it.
Now, obviously, we've all grown up watching comic books, reading comic books, watching some of these animated cartoons, seeing the movies, and obviously Peacemaker doesn't come to mind. So when you got this role, how much did it take you to read as much as you can before you really knew what this character was all about?
So that seems like a natural progression. I don't know this person, or I don't know this character. I'm going to dig into the mythology and learn as much as I can. And James Gunn told me to do the opposite of that. He said, the reason I want to do this, and the reason I want to form my own mythology behind these superheroes. And if you get attached to what you read, I won't have the freedom to make some of the choices I want. So he was legitimately like, don't read anything. We're going a different way. Just try on the costume, see how you feel, read the script, get familiar with the material, develop what you think the personality is. So I did that. And I totally messed it up, because we were shooting, James is like, no, don't be like that. Be like this. Peacemaker is not General Patton. Peacemaker is not a drill sergeant. Peacemaker is a douchey Captain America, like a douchey frat, like a bro-y Captain America. And that one sentence sparked the growth and ridiculousness of Peacemaker.
Outside of the costume, which is similar to what we've seen in the comics, everything else is totally different, which obviously you just mentioned James wanted him to be. I was working on this movie knowing James is directing, his directing skills, and he's bringing a lot of his comedic flair to it.
Oh, it was great. It was great. And not only that, the environment he creates. We ad-libbed a ton, none of which made the movie, but it didn't matter. James was trying to get the right environment, and he created an environment where we all had fun, and that shows on screen. It is a thrill ride. The movie doesn't stop because it's 25 main cast members, but it's also fun, and I think that fun translates through the screen when you see the movie.
Now, when you first started wearing that costume, did they have to adjust it for you? Did you have to make some alterations?
No, man, they kick ass. The costume department is like, they're brilliant. They took measurements. They made 3 versions of the costume, and like from Jump Street, man, it fit amazing. So no, they haven't had to do anything with it.
So the purpose of the movie, the Suicide Squad, where do we see Peacemaker? Obviously, it's a new version that we're seeing from because you mentioned we can't read what's on Wikipedia because this is something totally different. So what stage of Peacemaker are we getting?
Well, people can understand that the Suicide Squad, the concept of the Suicide Squad is the same. These are criminals who are chosen to undergo missions to save the world to get time off their sentence. So that's where you begin to find all of these people chosen for the team. They are, in that decision-making process of, do I join or do I not? And that's kind of where we find Peacemaker and pretty much everybody else.
You are the highlight of the summer. You also have another movie and part of a franchise, Fast 9. With this one, how does it knowing that, these are the movies that people are coming back to the theaters to see?
It's such an honor. There's a lot there. That's a great question. There's a lot there. I'm still very new to all this. I'm still kind of finding my way, especially in entertaining people through film. I'm so very lucky to be part of projects with so much experience and so much wisdom. And like you said, projects that are welcoming audiences back to being entertained in the theater. It's not lost on me. It's super important. And as if I wasn't grateful enough, I can add that to the, like, wow, it's also doing this. It's all surreal, man. It's all very surreal.
And even when I'm saying that, you still haven't given up your day job, which is, staying true to your wrestling fans who still get to see you. How do you balance both?
That's very difficult when it comes to film. You When you're filming stuff, and we also just dropped the trailer for Vacation Friends, so it kind of went like F9, Suicide Squad, Vacation Friends, back to back to back to back. And we just wrapped filming Peacemaker. So I've kind of been on set for like the last 3 years. And if you look at my activity in the WWE the last 3 years, it's been very minimal. I'd say less than 20 appearances. And that's the most difficult of all this. You cannot be everywhere at once. And sadly enough, I don't mind that, because my mind isn't split. I can give all I can to Peacemaker. And then when it's done, I can show up at Money in the Bank and give all my heart and soul to the WWE. And then take a break from that and then go give my heart and soul to the next project. That's tough in here because I want to be everywhere, but eventually it's more destructive than productive.
You got the series Peacemaker coming out. Are we seeing a version that's before or after Suicide Squad? Is it a different tone or is it the same tone?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, and we still haven't had the Suicide Squad come out, so I certainly want people to digest that first, decide how they feel about Peacemaker, and then hopefully we can address those questions after that.
Mhm. Do you consider yourself a comedian, considering some of your background films happen to be comedies? Have you grown enough funny bones?
I think I've been lucky enough to be around really funny people. And I think when you get around really funny people, being brave enough to be yourself allows them to be funny. A lot of the stuff that I've done, I've been the butt, pun intended, of all the jokes. And I think just being brave enough to lean into that and find the humor and laughing at yourself, I think that helps a lot.
Now, with the Suicide Squad, there's a lot of gore in there. And James went all out. You're making an R-rated film. You're basically saying to him, we're going to leave you alone. You can go have fun. What did you make out of the CGI and the gore of it all?
So here's the cool thing. Yes, man, there are some things in the Suicide Squad universe that are impossible to create without digital effects. But James also wanted to go heavily practical. And I think that's what makes the gore special. The explosions all are real. All the practical effects, as much as we could get, like prosthetics and blood splatter and all that, that's all as it happens. It takes a long time to reset if you do scenes where you have that, but it really looks authentic and super gory. And I'm glad it was a nice mixture of visual effects and practical application, because I think you're right. It does give the film that flavor of, this is just crazy, and it is super gory.
With a big cast that this movie has, was there anybody in particular that you got to hang out with? Was it Idris, Margot, Michael Rooker, anybody? Because it is a big cast, but you got to at least have one road dog when you're making a film that you can just chill with.
Well, it was actually more than that. There was a small group of us that you'll see. We kind of get defined. You have a cast that big, it does break off into on-screen relationships, and you'll see that. And we filmed for a long time, so when you're on screen and on set with everybody, you do make those bonds, and you'll see how those form throughout the movie.
But John, it's good talking to you. Obviously, as I mentioned, the highlight of the summer is seeing you in these different projects, and the trailer just dropped for your other project coming out. People are gonna go check out the Suicide Squad, then they're gonna wait patiently for the Peacemaker to come out. Keep doing your thing. I hope to talk to you down the road.
We appreciate it.
Take care.